So, ASD is, well, we all know that stands for autism spectrum disorder. It is, it affects, the line in the musical is, it says, the way I see and hear is unique. What ASD does is it affects the way you process information. So, it also affects other things. It can affect sensory and whatnot, kind of, because it's a spectrum, right? It affects everyone differently. And even the way you process information, how different that is different from someone else with ASD, right? It's such a huge umbrella. It's difficult to cover it all, but for me, a lot of issues are sensory. So I have heightened senses. I cannot be around heat a lot, or if, let's say, if I'm eating yogurt, right? I expect the yogurt to be completely liquid. I mean, that's just an example, but it's just if there's something in the yogurt that isn't liquid, it's unexpected. And I might not like it just because of that. And that's something I have to get used to. So that's a bit of sensory, right? And it affects what I eat and whatnot. But when it comes to processing information, it can also be something like if someone says something to me, right? I may interpret it in the literal sense. So if someone says take a seat, I may attempt to pick up the chair. Like that's an obvious example, but there are other things. I mean, if someone tells me, yo, I'm it kind of like sometimes it can just be oh, I'm going somewhere, like I'm with a friend, they say I'm going somewhere and they expect you to pick up some sort of hint from that, whether it's like at a work thing and they expect you to pick up their work for them while they're gone or whatnot. That's supposed to be implied, but I won't pick up on that. That's just sort of what it is for processing. It can be that, or it can be other things, but that's what it is for me, mainly. Just picking up on cues that you can't because... And it's also just generally socializing as well. Other people learn to pick up on facial expressions and whatnot growing up. But I actually had to go to into programs to actually learn those kinds of things. Even sometimes sarcasm I don't even pick up on. If someone doesn't change their tone of voice to reflect that, I probably won't pick up on it, and I'll ask, why would you want to do that? And they will say, it's just sarcasm. I don't actually mean it.
Something I learned from listening to the song is it's really hard for kids who have ASD to talk or do certain stuff, or like it's kind of hard. I don't know if it sounds mean, but like it's kind of hard to like fit in because you feel so different and unique. And that's basically all.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. You know, sometimes Madison, and don't downplay what you've learned from this, because the truth is, just even for you to be aware, even for you to acknowledge, I'm sure means the world. It's when people don't acknowledge and they're not aware and they're not even trying to understand or have compassion, that's when we run into problems. That's when people on the spectrum do feel alone, right? Because they don't feel understood. But for somebody to say, I kind of get it. Okay, Madison, you want to add to that, sweetie? Go ahead.
It's not really about the thing, but something that kind of made me a little more aware. It's not the same mental thing, but basically my teacher, we were reading this book called Out of My Mind, and this girl has cerebral palsy and she's mute and she's in a wheelchair and she feels like she doesn't fit in, and like it kind of reminded me of that book.
Right.
And yeah.
I got you. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to make those connections. Thank you. All right. Who else would like to share? One of our high school kids, please. Marianne. Thank you.
What I learned is that sometimes it requires a lot of patience, and you honestly can't deal with everybody in the same way, and you just have to watch your approach and just be patient, because patience is key.
Beautiful. Thank you. I want to also just back up a little to Yasmin's point. I really loved what Yasmin said, because she said that, because she already kind of answered this question, right? In one of the things that she'd shared, that if she sees someone that's responding differently, not that she judged them, but that she used to kind of wonder, why are you doing that? And now she's got a different attitude and approach towards it, right? A different awareness, kind of like, to some degree, what you were saying, Madison.
From Elezra, I kind of just learned like to be patient with people, like Marianne said, but also to not like make assumptions of people. And you would like, before I was like in this musical and like had this insight on all these things, I feel like I had always kind of made assumptions and assumed people could pick up on what I was like saying. And I think it's important to know, and what I've learned, it's important to like know that sometimes people don't I don't know how to explain this.
You're doing great.
Sometimes it's, I don't know, everybody's different and people work differently, and everybody's brains work differently. So it's important to not just assume that everybody is the same as you,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I feel like most people assume from like birth, but it's important to take that step back and remember that everybody is different from you. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Eliane.